Many times singers want to be actors or serious actors just dying to be comic, to say a funny line. And sometimes comedians want to sing. Now take Richard Pryor, for example. He's been a guest many times on the show, and he's always a clown, right? We all know him for being a clown. But we found out that Rich's secret desire is to be a singer, is to sing. Well, it's no secret anymore, because here is another one of the many talents of Richard Pryor.
Once I lived the life of a millionaire, spending my money, I didn't care. Taking all my friends out for a real good time, buying champagne, whiskey, bootleg wine. But one day I began to sing so low. Didn't have a friend, no place to go. But if I ever get my hands on that dollar, I'm gonna squeeze onto it till the eagle grins.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Preacher Miles, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. I hope you guys enjoyed that little treat. My main man, Richard Pryor, singing, "Don't nobody want you, nobody knows you when you're down and out." I'm going to claim privilege that I did not know about that. I did not know that that video existed. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Sylvia Traymore, one of the pioneering female comedians, particularly black female comedians, who told me about that when we were talking earlier today. And she said, "You haven't seen it?" I said, "No." Because we were talking about how, comedians and jazz and music and things like that. And we were talking about that. And she said, "You never seen it?" And she thankfully sent me over this clip in YouTube. As much as I bark about YouTube, how much you do me dirty, and sometimes I do you dirty, thank you for having that clip. I enjoyed that clip. Brothers and sisters, I've watched that clip several times. And I am a hard person about music and things like Richard Pryor nailed that song. I didn't know he had it in him. And it's funny to watch him because you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's good. And then double, oh my gosh, that's Richard Pryor. Tell you guys something. And one day, if you're nice, I'm going to play my saxophone for the shout-out show. All right, so let me get to the course of business. If you're here for the first time, I know some of you are. Thank you for coming on the show. Peeping what we're doing here on the shout-out show. You just got a little treat. That was Mr. Richard Pryor singing "Nobody Wants You Down and Nobody Wants You When You're Down and Out." You got to check that out. Maybe I'll keep that and replay it sometimes. If not, you can watch it on the replay of the show. You're on the show for the first time. Thank you. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you coming. The other thing is, don't be a wallflower. You're in here. You're on the show. Jump in the comment section. Let us know what you're talking about. We appreciate you because this show is much more than a show. It's much more than a platform. It's a community. And the people that come on the show, they are an integral part of the community, the Shout Out Show community. And when I say that, I mean we know about each other. We wish each other well. When people get sick, we make dua for one another. And on top of that, we have a good time. The topic I'm going to talk about, our Saturday Spotlight, I don't even know if I should do this, but next week, brothers and sisters, we do have a guest for our Saturday Spotlight. And we will not be a spotlight on an issue. We will be blessed to have our first comedian on the Shout Out Show. But hear me now. This is a legendary comedian. When I say legendary, I mean when she starts telling you her story, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. In fact, I'm going to make sure we have links to her books and her website. She's being celebrated now. She's a case of people saying, give her her flowers now. She was the first black writer on Saturday Night Live, first black female writer on Saturday Night Live. She opened for Muhammad Ali and Dick Gregory. She has done amazing work. She's the only black female impressionist. She does all kinds of impressions. You hear what I'm saying? So you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be a great show. I'm actually going to make a bumper for it. We're going to hype her up. She's actually going to be in a production about black comedians in a show it's actually a film documentary with Dave Chappelle, Damon Wayans, Kevin Hart, and it's going to have her. Her name is Dr. Sylvia Traymore, and she's going to be on our show next Saturday. Bam! That's a big announcement. Bam! Another bam for you. So listen, if it's your first time on the show, let me show you how it works. You recognize stars in the building. You recognize people who make you grateful for coming to the platform. One day, whatever. I don't know how many episodes we're going to do. That's not the point. But one day, somebody's going to click this show on, and if they really like this show, you know what I'm going to go? I'm going to say, yo, it's not the show, it's the people that come on the show. So let me tell you about some of the people who come on the show. Some people don't come on the show. My dad watches the show, but he don't want to come on. We're going to get him on, though. I'm going to give a shout out to Sister Reed. Sister Reed, that food was fabulous, but I want you to know I showed some restraint. I did not eat it all in one setting. I didn't eat it all. I left some for today. And it was hard with that fish to think of it in terms of leftovers, because it was about to be over last night. It wasn't going to be leftovers, it was just going to be over. But I showed some restraint. I will be partaking of it today. All right. Sister Reed says, hello, family. Hello, Sister Reed. And we have Sister Sultana, our consultant producer, who makes the Shout Out Show go. Sister Sultana, I will be giving you Dr. Sylvia Traymore's contact information, because we want to make sure that she is on the show, and we want to make sure that she's hyped up and we get her flyer out. I am super duper excited for this person. I mean, I'm excited for all our guests. But she's our first comedian. Now, most people go, why did you have a Muslim comedian on? Let me tell y'all something. We'll have a Muslim comedian. But I made the decision to have on a legend. Okay? And we, as a community on the Shout Out Show, we're going to give her flowers. Because it's just recently people like Monique, Whoopi Goldberg, folks like that are giving her love. She's got an episode of This Is Us coming up on NBC. She's in this documentary. She's doing amazing things. She's doing a documentary on Jackie Mom's Mabley. And she has a play, a one-woman play, where she plays 11 characters, including Billie Holiday. So we're going to be talking to her about that. All right. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate you. Let's get around here. So we got my main man. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on, Brother Ataf? Thank you so much for coming on the show, brother. You always make a space for us. I say you come on the show, but I'm going to think about it. I just want to say you make a place for us, just like everybody else. Yo, Ataf's got jokes. Ataf has got jokes. Look at this one. Was that fish yesterday? I think I had a dream about it. Yeah, brother. That was some fish for you. Not for you, for you. F-O-hyphen-ya. Y-A. For ya. That was some incredible fish. My main man, Samir. What's going on, beloved? Good to see you. Assalamu alaikum. Bruce Wayne is gone. I'm Batman. Okay. All right. You know, you swinging here like you want to swing in here, Samir. I'm messing with you, brother. Good to see you on the show, man. So my topic today is kind of funny, but it's kind of not funny, but it's kind of funny. Let me say that. It's kind of funny, but it's not kind of funny, but it's kind of funny. It's when somebody does something that's not necessarily illegal, but it's not necessarily legal, and it lies in between wrong and incorrect. I'm talking about these people because we all know somebody that falls in this category. Today we're going to be dissecting sneaky people. Dissecting sneaky people. Let me tell you about sneaky people. Sneaky people do things, and only when they're caught do they feel as though they have to explain themselves. But in the explanation, there is no aptitude for apologizing. It's just that you caught them in a hustle. And they take it upon themselves thinking, well, the next time I got to have a better hustle. Sneaky people. One of my favorite comedy groups is Laurel and Hardy. I don't know if you ever seen Laurel and Hardy, but they were in this film one time, and they were in the middle of the desert. They were thirsty to death. They were parched, and they had a drink of water. And one says to the other, "We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna share this water. This is sneaky." He says, "We're gonna share this water." The other guy goes, "Yep, we're gonna share the water. You take half, I take half." Guy takes the water, drinks all of it. The guy goes, "Why did you do that? I was supposed to get half, you were supposed to get half. Sneaky." He goes, "My half was on the bottom." That's sneaky people. And in our politics, we have the same thing. We have people who only admit to things when they get caught. Sneaky people. Here's what sneaky people do. Take bites out of apples, put them back in the fruit bowl, and turn it around so you can't see the teeth marks. That's what sneaky people do. And I normally it would be a funny thing talking about sneaky people, but it's gotten to a premium right now. This is serious. You have people doing sneaky things with serious ramifications. You hear what I'm saying? Sneaky people with serious ramifications. Per se. Right now the FBI is investigating this insurrection because they think that the people who executed the insurrection had help from inside. Per se from politicians. Per se from people who actually worked in the Capitol building. And I'm sitting here going, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Of course they had help. It's the Capitol building. You can't, let me tell y'all something. Thank you, Samir. If you ever go to the Capitol building, if you go on a tour, you need a guide. Let me tell you why you need a guide. There are so many trap doors in the Capitol building. It is a labyrinth, if you will. It's a maze, if you will, that you can get lost walking around that building. On a field trip when I was really, really young, we had to go in the Capitol building. Me and my brother Rick, we were playing around, joking, and messed around and got separated from the class. It was the scariest moment of our lives. You know why? Because you couldn't find anybody. Okay? It is a security nightmare if you get lost. Now, why am I saying this? Because if you watch the tape of the insurrections, those protesters knew where to go. Once they got in, they knew where to go. Oh, we're going to make a left or right, left, go upstairs, come down the stairs, right there. There are politicians that said, my office, you couldn't find on the first try, second try, or third try. However, people found it on the first try. Now, here's one thing about sneaky people. Sneaky people have a different type of energy, if you will. Sneaky people energy is based upon your perception. Sneaky people energy is based upon your perception. What I mean is the level of sneakiness or deception, because it can move from sneaky to being deceptive. Because if a person doesn't feel like I can just get over this way, I have to move to another mode of negative expression to get my goal. Here's why I say this. Because there's some people that you can't be sneaky around. Let me say it. There's some people it's extremely difficult for you to be sneaky around. And this is why. Because the people that they have in their midst is even more difficult to be sneaky around them. It's a protection. We need it. In all the, in all the history of all the prophets, all our prophets was surrounded and had to deal with what? Sneaky people. There's a movie out. What is it, Judas and the Black Messiah? What are you talking about? Sneaky people. Malcolm X, sneaky people. I mean, I am of the ilk that I feel like this culture now. This culture, which used to be a sneaky culture, we have words like covert operations. What that means is it's going on, you don't know. There are secret wars going on in the world, we don't know about them. U.S. secret wars, Soviet secret wars, we don't know about them. It's done in secret. But when I talk about sneaky people, I now reference a culture. I now reference a culture that at one point in time was identified and castigated as criminal. Now it's sneaky. It's almost like the word slick. Now people have taken slick and sneaky and put it together. Call it sleeky. But this is the world we're living in. And I'm saying this because, think about this. Voting rights. They're getting ready to do something with that. Voting rights. Now, the stimulus bill is just compromised. You're also going to be looking at women's rights. You're looking at a lot of things that on the outside, if you will. On the outside, if you will, you say, well, that's a normal conversation. That's a normal transaction, a normal engagement. It is not. It is not. This whole thing about QAnon, brothers and sisters, this whole thing about secret societies, they are led and conceived by sneaky people. In America, one of the natural-born suspects, if you will, people who are stereotyped as sneaky, have been Muslims. Why? Because Islam was a religion. You couldn't tell a person's religion by looking at them. Therefore, they applied the sneaky brand on them, and so now we're sneaky. Look at Samir. I can see he's a tour guide in the Capitol. Ladies and gentlemen, there's the senator from Maryland or the congressman from Virginia who signed off on that bill. Give us more defense funders for wars we don't need. I see you. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny, Samir. That's funny. But check this out. Sneaky has now become a guidepost for politics and political positioning, because now you don't have to tell your intentions. Think about that. You don't have to tell your intentions. For everybody that's been married, If you ever wonder why uh, my wife's husband didn't like me, or my mother didn't like my wife, or anybody, man, I'm gonna tell you why. Because parents live to make sure that their children, their sons and their daughters, are not engaged with sneaky people. When they used to, back in the old days, they said, "What's your intentions for my daughter?" You better not come weak. You better not come weak. Because I've been there when people have said weak stuff around my granddaddy, around my dad, and I'm like, oh, he ain't going to work out. And we disparage the person. Now, there's a lot of brothers that tried to marry my cousins, and I'm sorry. I hope you found somebody suitable for you. But I'm sorry, when you were trying to court, you were horrible. You were bums. But have a blessed day. But my greater point is, now sneaky has become culturally acceptable. It's become culturally acceptable. People, see, when you're straight up with a person, you have a level playing field. If there's 4 parts to a story, if you're a real person, then you tell all 4 parts of the story. Advertising, they say that you tell a B idea, you tell an A idea, and don't worry about B, C, D. If they are engaged in the A idea. And if they're not engaged in the A idea, then you pitch them the B idea. And if it's not the B idea, then the C idea. It's the idea of the used car salesman. This car gets great gas mileage. We don't need that. It's got a great engine. We don't need that. But look at the interior. All those things, brothers and sisters, could be just null and void. But you're trying to sell them something. You're trying to sneak something past somebody. And I say this because we now become a society where people wantonly and willingly leave out aspects about what's going on with our politics, religion, economy. People only want to tell you and me what they think will engage us so that we will forget everything else. One of the characteristics of a sneaky person is they want the people that they're trying to trick and get over on. They want those people to have poor memories. They want those people to be fast forgetters. Let me say that again. They want people, their victims, to be poor, have poor memory, and get over things fast. You know why? Because a sneaky person can't sit and rest on sneaky laurels. A good sneaky person is a community pestilence. Let me say it again. They're a community pestilence, meaning that they can't just affect one community. Think about it. Close your eyes. Think of somebody who's sneaky, and think about the fact that when they did something, 4 or 5 people had a story about them being sneaky. Now, people are going to preach, is there any value to the sneaky person? Yes and no. Yes and no. No, I'm saying there's nothing redemptive about misleading people or lying to people or cheating people or directing people in I want to say, harmful ways. But what the sneaky person does, it reminds us that in the most desperate situations and scenarios, people are willing to be extremely creative to get what they want. Now, with this sneaky person, I'm saying, brothers and sisters, that's not the way to do it. But I have to say, I've had some friends who were sneaky people, and when we worked our differences out, they turned out to be amazing creatives, great storytellers, excellent musicians. And that little bit of nudging, that recalibration, gave them a platform whereby they could succeed and not be sneaky. Because the thing about when you do things sneaky, you can't celebrate it. You can't beat your chest and say, look what I did. Because you put a cloak over something it's hindered by your earlier actions. My job, really, my wish for sneaky people, and I tell them all the time, you don't have to do this with me. This is what you're trying to do. State your case and build a model, build a process where you can achieve that goal. And I have to say that word, achieve that goal. Because most sneaky people I know, they have short-term goals. If there's anything that annoys me about them, it's just that they have very short-term goals. Like, this thing isn't going to go anywhere. It's never jointed. It's never a fluid conversation. And I'm saying at this point in time, we, the unsneaky people, have to be a lot more astute of calling out the sneaky people. Because sneaky people, they know the law. They know when something is illegal and kind of illegal. They know when something's wrong and it's kind of wrong. You see, because when it's kind of wrong, they'll still do it. When it's wrong, there's consequences. When it's borderline illegal, they'll take their chances. But when it's illegal, they'll still take their chances. But it won't be with the type of robust attitude to do so. So I guess I should say something good about sneaky people. So I'll say this. If there's anything that's good about sneaky people, is they're not around long. Sneaky people don't really have long shelf life. You know, you heard me say this before. My mentor, Reginald Kitchen, we used to say this all the time. The quote is, God never wastes the work of a righteous worker. Or Allah never wastes the work of a righteous worker. So what's funny is, sneaky people always play themselves out. The work isn't righteous. The work isn't, an expression of care and love and compassion and mercy, or just even intelligence. Sneaky people need you, and I'll tell you why. Because, for lack of a better word, and for lack of a better motto, if you will, sneaky people still have aspirations at some point in time to be legitimate, to have a legitimate cause, to have legitimate relationships. And sometimes, yeah, they're sneaky, but sometimes you're the ones that are providing the model of how you get from point A to point B without having to look over your shoulder, without having to lie and manipulate. You know, an honest conversation between men and women is one of the most empowering things you can have. To sit with a group of people. A, say the truth. B, don't embellish it. C, whatever scars or bumps or bruises, claim them as yours. And you know what? It builds a different type of capacity for how you have community. Got a shout out from Miss Mary Moss. Sneaky people at the Capitol are now hiding so they won't be found out or pay the price for their actions. Yeah. It is what it is. But my point is, and I have to say this, sneaky people do make me laugh. They do. I mean, there's something about doing it the right way. But sometimes the comedian, brothers and sisters, the comedian in me likes to see when the sneaky people try to do it their way. I think it's the funniest thing in the world. World's Dumbest Criminals. I can't pull it up, brothers and sisters, but I'm going to tell you about sneaky people. World's Dumbest Criminals is a great show. Yep, boxing is that. I agree with you. And I want to give a shout out to Miss Eleanor if you're watching the show. I want to give a shout out to Clifford Moore Sr. I know you're watching the show. But here's something about sneaky people. And then my thing is, and I don't want to sound, I'm like, my thing to all you sneaky people, God's watching. What you do counts. It doesn't matter if you get caught by me or somebody else. You're caught. Intention, expectation, you're going to be caught. You're going to do wrong things. You think you're going to get over. You're not getting over. The world and the universe is always watching. We got Brother Jeffrey McCambridge. How you doing, Brother Jeffrey? I think a lot of sneaky people just learned they were sneaky after the backlash off. Woo, I like that, Brother Jeffrey. People are realizing who they are. They project their sneakers onto everyone else and live in the illusion of righteousness. Welcome to the show, Brother Jeffrey. Love it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. But I'm going to tell y'all about sneaky people. I used to watch Cops. You know, I don't watch Cops anymore. The show's off. One of my favorite shows is World Dumbest Criminals. So they had a scenario where these guys were running from the police. They had a big bag of marijuana, like a big, hefty bag of marijuana. And they're running through the alley. They don't want to get caught. And so they open a trash can, throw the bag of marijuana in there, close it, and run off. Now, they think they're being sneaky. So after the coast is clear and the police have left, these two knuckleheads go back to the trash dumps and look in there, and the weed is gone. They can't find the weed. So they go into this establishment where the trash can is connected to, and these guys literally are trying to be sneaky with the guy. He says, "Can I help you?" He said, "Well, because it's already illegal. Well, we're looking for a bag." The guy says, "You looking for a bag?" He says, "You looking for what kind of a bag?" He says, "It's a black bag." He said, "Really, a black bag?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "What was in it?" He said, "Stuff." He said, "I don't know what was in it." He doesn't know what was in it, but he knows that the bag was black and it's in a trash can. Now, what he didn't know was the owner of this establishment saw them throw the bag in the trash can, running away from the police. When they took off, he went and got the trash bag, took it into his office or his establishment, and he called the police. And they were arguing with this man about the bag. "Do you have it? I want to know if you have the bag." The guy says, "Hold on, let me make a call." He calls. He goes, "We have the bag." He had called the police. He had the bag. They're so stupid that when the police came, they're all out there, and the guy goes, "Yeah, Mr. Officer, he wants the bag." Now, the officer already knows that the bag's full of marijuana. The officer goes, "Is that your bag?" And one guy goes, I never seen it in my life. The other guy goes, "Yeah, that's our bag." I don't know if they're still in jail now, but my point is, if you're sneaky, it never works out. Whether you're QAnon, whether you're the Proud Boys, whether you're KKK, whether you're whatever hate group, it just never works out. And my advice to you is, stop taking up all the good energy in the universe trying to be sneaky. We know you. You're a hustler. You're a liar. You disparage the good in everything you do because you don't believe in anything. That's good. Unless it suits, of course, your purposes. Now, I'm going to go. But I want to say something to everybody on this show. I just spent about 30-something minutes talking about sneaky people. What you should do is appreciate the honest people in your life, the honest people in your community. Because sneaky people, we pay attention to them because we're not valuing the hardworking people enough. We're not valuing the people that do it right. Even when they come up short, they continue to do it right. They don't rob, they don't steal, they don't disadvantage people, they don't mislead people. And the reason they do it, as opposed to the sneaky people, is that they believe in a code. We are people that live by codes. The sneaky people are folks that break codes. I'm not saying we won't be friends, but you ain't gonna be sneaky around me. So, brothers and sisters, listen, I want everybody to have a great show, to have a good day today. Yeah, have a good day today. I just want to give a quick shout out before we get out of here. You know who I'm gonna shout out? Got to shout out our sponsor. That's right, our sponsor, who is not here today, but we're gonna show her some love anyway. And that is BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. You can go to the website, sign up, or you can call 1-800-679-3175. Again, that's 1-800-679-3175. If you sneaky, don't call. 1-800-SNEAKY. Don't call. And you have operators, you have Miss Kate on another line, who's going to tell you how you can grow your wealth, how you can protect your wealth. More importantly, growing up and protecting your wealth is a big thing. So listen, we hope that we see you guys tomorrow. I'm shouting out right now all the way to next Saturday. We're going to have Dr. Sylvia Traymore on the Shout Out Show for our Saturday Spotlight. I told you I was going to get you somebody. Well, I got a queen. I could have gotten you a comedian, but I got you a queen. One of the funniest women to ever do it. And now some of y'all are going, well, what about so-and-so? What? Well, you know what? She's been in the game so long that only if you're an OG, you might know who she is. And she's going to be on this show. And she's going to tell you how the game used to be. She's going to tell you about working with Red Fox. She's going to tell you about working with Dick Gregory, working with Muhammad Ali, getting honored by Monique, all these people. You know, and she's probably going to make y'all laugh too. So I'm going to give this last one right here. Yes. And we got my main man. Sylvia Traymore. Sean, you know her. Dr. Sylvia Traymore, you know her. Don't act like you don't know her, Sean. Hey, Jeff, you got a shout out from Sister Reed. Said, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming. So that's it. But next week, next Saturday, we're going to be doing shows, of course, till next Saturday. But next Saturday, our spotlight is going to be Dr. Sylvia Traymore from my hometown, Washington, D.C., on the show. There you go. See, Sean knows everybody. Sean's like a comedian encyclopedia, D.C. comedian encyclopedia. He knows everybody. But you know she's an OG. So, Sean, come on the show. Show some love, brother. Okay, listen, everybody, I want you to have an excellent day. Inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow, man. And I want you to take it easy. And if you can't take it easy, in the words of my daddy, take it all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's the Shout Out Show. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next Shout Out Show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarif Attar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifattar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.